Welcome back to my channel, Economics Simplified with Miss Ellen. Today we are looking at factors of production part 3, that is entrepreneurship. My last video we did capital as a factor of production. So today we are looking at factor of production entrepreneurship. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, you like, you share, and remember to leave a comment below. Now let's define entrepreneurship. It is the act of combining the factors of production and the bearing of risks to produce goods and services to satisfy human wants. The act of combining the factors of production, being it land, labor, and then capital, to produce goods and services. Now let's look at an entrepreneur, or who an entrepreneur is. The entrepreneur is the person who organizes and combines the other three factors of production, that is land, capital, labor, to produce goods and services to satisfy human wants. Now, if you are asked to differentiate between entrepreneurship and an entrepreneur, the differences are that the entrepreneurship is simply the act of combining the other factors of production to produce goods and services, whilst the entrepreneur is the person who does the act of combining the goods and services. Then the reward of the entrepreneur is profit, that is the reward. An example of an entrepreneur, we have Bill Gates for Microsoft. Then we have Steve Jobs for Apple phones and then computers. Then we have Kwame Despite from Ghana. He's into the special ice product. Then we have Despite Group, UTV, Peace FM, OKFM. Then we have Dr. Joseph Siang, who is into Zoom Lion. Now let's look at the characteristics or features of entrepreneur. The first is that he is a very special type of labor. Then he receives income in the form of profit. Now with this income, it is not fixed. So his income is based on the profit of the day. So meaning that the higher the profit, the higher the entrepreneur's income. Then he is the most mobile of all the other three factors of production. He may also be a single person, such as the farmer or a manager, or they can be in a group. And a typical example, we have Unilever Group of companies. Then we look at the functions of an entrepreneur. The first is that he takes risks of the business. It has to do with certain uncertainties in the business. Maybe if there is an inflation, he has to bear the risks. Or maybe there is a change in some method of production, or customer demanding for another thing, he has to bear that risk. Then he makes certain basic decisions in the business or in a company. So decisions such as what to produce. When we talk about the what to produce, that is what he should use the factors of production for. Example, land. What should he use land for? Should he use land to produce goods, or should the land be used for construction of road, for construction of schools, hospitals? Now, the decision as to what to produce will depend on the demand for the commodity. If demand for a particular commodity is high, then it will help him to know what to produce. Or based on the profit margin, if the profit margin is very high, then it will also help him to decide what to produce. Then another basic decision will be how to produce. The how to produce has to do with the method of production. Should I use labor-intensive method of production or capital-intensive method of production? Then another decision is where to produce. Where to produce. Now with this, the entrepreneur will have to decide whether to produce near the market or near the raw material in order to cut down certain costs such as transportation. Then we have when to produce. when to produce. That is, do I produce the goods based on immediate demand from consumers or customers, or based on anticipation of demand? That is when to produce. Then we have for whom to produce. For whom to produce. Am I producing for the rich or for the poor in society? Or am I producing for the young people or the aged in society? Then we have how to distribute what has been produced. So what that is in terms of what has been produced, which of the product is going here or is going there. That is how to distribute what has been produced. Now let's look at the features or the characteristics of entrepreneur. The first feature is that he organizes the other factors of production, being it land, labor, and then capital. He does the organization of the other factors. Then he generates new ideas and then he implements them. He owns the resources, or he is the one who provides capital for the business. Now let's look at why we are lacking entrepreneurs in West Africa. The first is lack of education on entrepreneurial skills. You realize that the educational system in West Africa, a typical example, Ghana, the people are trained for the white collar jobs, or it's based on theories. So due to that, you complete school, that is your first degree or your second degree, but then you are not able to fit into the existing jobs. Why? Because the educational system did not teach you any entrepreneurial skills. Then the fear of taking risks. The fear of taking risks. Most people fear losing their capital as a result of going into entrepreneurs. Why? Because they fear to take that risk. And we know that every business has its own risks. If you want to be successful as a businessman, you need to take a risk. But because people fear to take that risk, we are lacking entrepreneurs in West Africa. Then we have lack of access to credit facilities. Most people do not have access to credit facilities such as loans. Why? Because they don't have the collateral security for the banks to give them the loan. Due to that, we are lacking entrepreneurs in West Africa. Then we have ignorance. That is, people are not aware of existing business opportunities, and anything you are not aware of or you are ignorant in, you can't venture into such activities or businesses. So we end the lecture for today here. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, you like, you share, and you leave a comment.